Again, I might be biased, but we have the best board in the world. Thank you for devoting your time to MassBio and our industry. And Pam, thank you to you for your steady leadership as chair of the MassBio board. Now, a very special moment for all of us here. We had the pleasure of hearing from Governor Maura Healey in January at our policy leadership breakfast. And she made it clear that she wants the Commonwealth to remain the global center of life sciences. Proposals that she's filed since show her commitment to extending our lead and remaining competitive. After the governor's remarks, we'll actually sit down for a little bit of a fireside chat, some questions, answers, and conversation. So, Governor, we are incredibly honored with your presence here today. Please take a moment and join me on stage.
Walking on broken glass. Walking on broken glass.
Wow, I don't usually get a band in the morning. This is awesome. Thank you, guys. Very excited. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a time of firsts and a time of some new things happening, and I'm excited about that. And, you know, we're sitting in the hub of innovation. I loved Pam's comments invoking Governor Winthrop. It may be 400 years ago, but the sentiment remains the same. It really does. And I truly believe that this is Massachusetts' moment. This is our moment. And it is through the energy and the vibrancy, the creative talent and innovation of the people in this room that are going to take us to where we need to go. So I am thrilled to have the opportunity to be with all of you here this morning. And I want to thank MassBio for its leadership through this time, and to Kendall in particular for the work that you and your team do day in and day out, to Pam, the board and the new board members, as well as the staff of MassBio. Really, really appreciate it, and what a wonderful way to kick off Life Sciences Week here in the Commonwealth. Yes. I've said for a long time, and those of you who know me and who have worked with me understand that it is all about teamwork, and that's how we're going to get things done in this state. Public-private partnership, the opportunity for us to harness that incredible collection. No state in this country has the collection within such proximity of human capital, intellectual capital, history of innovation, research, going first, working together like this place, like Massachusetts, right? I mean, there just isn't a spot that has that special sauce. And as your governor, I recognize that. One of the reasons I was inspired to run for this job is because I believe so much is possible, that we can be so much more, not only for the good of residents and families across Massachusetts, but for this country and for this world. And we get there by working together, inside, outside of government, with academia, with our research institutions. So the one thing I thought I could do is make sure that I surround myself with people who are smarter than me, and who are action-oriented, and who are great collaborators. And that's what we've done with this incredibly talented cabinet that we've put together. Two of our fantastic all-stars are here today, our Secretary of Economic Development, Yvonne Howe, and our Secretary of Labor and Workforce Development, Lauren Jones. And they reflect They are working across the board with our fantastic Health and Human Services Secretary, Kate Walsh, our Secretary of Education, Pat Tutwiler, and so many more across the board. And I think they would say it is all about teamwork, breaking down the balkanization of siloed government, right? And being able to quickly turn on a dime, be nimble, be responsive. So I love the theme, Kendall, the state of possible, because What's possible here in this state is, I believe, entirely, completely within our reach if we work together. You know, I think I probably saw this. Back in the day, I used to be a lawyer, not just one on TV, but I was a lawyer representing, I had a big law firm representing a lot of our life sciences companies. And I think I certainly saw firsthand what they meant, what they were doing. I think I had a different view of that 3 years ago in March of 2020 when I saw the way in which our Massachusetts companies stepped forward. I remember it was a Sunday evening, I put a call into Governor Baker and said, we've got to get on the phone with all our hospitals and others to figure out what we need to do here. We didn't have supplies. Remember, we didn't have PPE. We had no way to, we didn't even have swabs. And that day forward, we had a regular morning call, and some of you participated, and some of you contributed in incredibly meaningful ways. And I think I'm looking at Brian Johnson and Kendall, you know, you all, everybody working together. The synergy that you brought enabled Massachusetts to really lead and prove to the world that this industry can work together to solve the toughest medical problems and bring life-saving inventions to market quickly. And something about, we can go back, I mean, it's 3 years ago, it feels like a lifetime ago in some ways, but remember the fear, the terror, the anxiety of that moment. We didn't know, you know, what was gonna happen. And just take a moment to appreciate this ecosystem that each and every one of you and your entities is a part of every single day. Because that didn't just happen either, right? It didn't just happen. It happened because you all knew the importance of investing in STEM careers, of having diverse entrepreneurs, of fighting for every federal dollar and everything we need to do to lay the groundwork for that ecosystem such that when the time came, we were ready to go. We were ready to go. And that's a huge, huge credit to the people in this room. I also want to acknowledge Ken Turner and the folks at Mass Life Sciences Center. I appreciate the big bet that another governor made many years ago, Governor Patrick, and know that we are continuing to work in that vein because we know how important this industry is to Massachusetts, and as I say, to the country and to the world. So I want to thank Ken and his team for their incredible leadership and work. I guess a couple comments, and I'm looking forward to the conversation with Kendall. She's gonna, I guess, interview me. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let me just say something about the last couple weeks in that Texas judge. I spoke out quite vociferously about this. As some of you know, I'm a strong protector and advocate and fighter for access to women's health care, reproductive justice, and the right. And that was certainly, you know, what was going on. So I said those things, and I believe in those things. What I also tried to say again and again to folks is, wait a second. Understand that if we're going to allow politics, not science, to drive innovation, we're in trouble here. We're in trouble as a country. We're in trouble here in Massachusetts. Research, knowledge, science, enlightenment, these things have been our calling card for so long. And imagine a decision of this one hand-picked judge in Texas deciding to overturn the way that the FDA does business. It's crazy. Now, we could have a conversation about the way the FDA does business. I'm sure you'd have a lot to say, but there's a structure, right? There's a structure. And to me, that was what was also so alarming about this whole scenario, was this idea that we were going to shift and allow politics to control things and move away from independent, trusted, science-based approaches to medications and inventions in this country. And I think, and I put this out there because it's on appeal, but there's a crusade out there. It is relentless. And I think it will take not only the voice of those who stand for reproductive freedom in this country, but those, again, who believe in science and research and data and knowledge to drive us forward, to power us forward as a world. We're going to need those voices in the time ahead. Because it was mifepristone this time. What drug will it be? What life-saving medication, innovation will it be next time? So more on that later, but I always appreciate how much you appreciate the significant repercussions of some of these things. But back to our ecosystem here in Massachusetts. Team Massachusetts, Secretary Howe, we talk about Team Massachusetts, and we're so excited. Our researchers, hospital, research centers and researchers, our universities, our hospitals, on the cutting edge of so much R&D. We also have the best K through 12 schools in the country and the highest percentage of folks with undergraduate and graduate degrees, all of which power our skilled workforce. One of the reasons the U.S. Department of Defense chose to site F-35s at Barnes Air Force Base in Westfield recently is because they know we have an educated workforce. People who are serving our country want to live in states where they know their kids can access quality education. It's so, so important. We're home, as we know and we celebrate this week, #1 in life sciences. More than that, it's a state effort, and that's what we're going to talk about as a group, I know. Because Worcester, it turns out, is #15 nationally, beating out cities like Dallas and Sacramento. How awesome is that? And as we think about innovation, it's great, and we are going to hold this up and show this off. We've been in Worcester visiting. We've been up to Lowell. What's going on there and what's possible in some of our gateway cities with manufacturing in addition to research is awesome. And this is what it means to have a Team Massachusetts approach. We're the leader in venture capital investment and at the top of the list on patent creation per capita. We're in the top 10 nationally when measured by the number of Fortune 1000 companies headquartered in this state. All of this supported by strong, to be made stronger, public-private partnerships and intentional collaboration across industry, academia, and government. This is about being Team Massachusetts because, let's face it, when we face our challenges, and there are real challenges in this state. I know those of you looking to hire, people need to be able to afford an apartment, afford a home. Childcare is high. There are some real challenges in our state, but we have a lot to be proud of and a lot to work from and build upon. And together, I think we all have a role in making Massachusetts as competitive and as affordable a place for families, for businesses, not only to exist, but to really thrive and grow. Beginning next week, our Executive Office of Economic Development will be kicking off our economic development plan for the state. This is something that we're required to do by statute every few years. We're going to do it differently. We're going to have it be a meaningful economic development plan, aren't we, Yvonne? And she will be reaching out to different folks, if she hasn't already, members of the business community, elected officials, key stakeholders. Tell us about the barriers that you face, and let's figure out a plan forward. Let's figure out the industries, the spaces, the places where we're going to lean in through government investment, through public-private partnership, and really go. This plan is technically not due until December, but we have said we want this plan now, because the sooner we can operationalize and get going on this, the better. And that's why when you get a call from our office, we really mean it, and we want to work very quickly to turn this around. We've had conversations with Kendall and the team and look forward to your help in helping us identify the investments we can make and define where we can put our energy and our treasure behind. We know one area that's really important, of course, is workforce, because for you all to thrive here, you need to have the workforce. So as Kendall was introducing me, I was pulling rudely, I'm sorry, Pam aside, because I was so pumped to know about the Dorchester facility. That's exactly what we're talking about, or somebody like me is talking about, and Lauren Jones, when it comes to workforce. How do we tie and create that pipeline of workers. So super, super exciting. Big focus for our administration. As you know, Bobby, you remember, I remember the first budget, we managed to get that done. And now we're working with our colleagues in the legislature to get it over the goal line. One of the things that we propose, though, is a significant investment of resources behind things like early college, things we call innovation pathways, and other means to invest young people earlier in STEM education and get them through, get them trained. So we have a workforce and we're providing opportunity. Expanding college and career pathways will give our high school students a leg up in preparation for high-demand industries like healthcare, computer science, manufacturing, engineering. We expect in 5 years that STEM jobs will account for 40% of employment growth in the state and drive our economy. And so we're working to do all we can. And I know how important this is to all of you. Know that we want to be really intentional about this. And we come at this with this idea that we've got to reimagine. As strong as our education is here, it's not working for enough people, and it's not getting enough people through quickly enough to fill the jobs that are available here today and fill the jobs that will provide a wonderful livelihood for folks. And so know that we are being really intentional about identifying those jobs and then inventorying who's out there in terms of vocational schools, career technical institutes, community colleges, and other institutions to quickly train up people to fill those jobs. We announced last month 9 new early college programs. Earlier this month, we awarded innovation career pathway designations to 27 high schools. This will expand the program to reach nearly 1 in 5 high schools in the state. This is just the first 4 months of our term, so we've got a lot more to go, but just an indication of where we're at. Our proposed budget includes $47 million for these programs. That's an increase of $15 million from last year alone. So that's how intentional we are when it comes to workforce. When it comes to our state competitiveness, we're playing to win. We are playing to win. I've said this for a long time. It's the season. We've got the Bruins, we've got the Celtics, super exciting. We want to have some titles, some parades, all of that. But that energy, right, that matters. And that is the spirit right now of our time. And that's what we need to meet this moment. Because let's face it, and understand that I know, other states, other cities are on our heels, are just right there looking to catch up, if not blow by us. And the status quo, just resting on laurels or past experiences here, no, none of that will work right now. We have to get after it and go. And that's why we have to take steps right now to make sure that our economy 10 years from now continues to be the global leader when it comes to life sciences. So it's about partnership. I mentioned the economic development strategy. We also have a workforce skills cabinet that includes education, economic development, labor and workforce, and we have added health and human services to that as well. And they are meeting regularly to build out the effort that we need around workforce. We also have a once-in-a-generation opportunity when it comes to some of these federal funds. Most significantly, ARPA-H. I want to thank Secretary Howe and Brian Johnson, others who worked very, very hard in the last few weeks, very carefully, quickly and carefully, to help us there. And we're just trying to unlock the potential of ARPA-H for this region. We know what it will mean in terms of advanced medical therapies and breakthroughs. And we're so lucky to have this incredibly strong ecosystem here. And I'm really so grateful to and proud of all the members of the consortium who worked together to put forward a proposal. Know that we will do everything we can to get after it with the Biden administration to secure this opportunity. I've also brought in a director of federal funds. We've never had one as a state before. Somebody who is, dog on bone, chasing all the federal funding for CHIPS, for the Science Act, and the other pieces of legislation as well. Because I do not want to lose out to Miami. I do not want to lose out to Austin. I am definitely not losing out to North Carolina, right? Or New Jersey, New York. So we've got to have somebody who's right there, making sure that we are doing that in concert with all of you. And I know that we have a partner in MassBio when it comes to this work. Again, I am so grateful to all of you for the work that you do and the work that you will do in the time ahead. And in recognition of this particular week, Life Sciences Week, I thought it appropriate to bring with me a proclamation signed by myself and Lieutenant Governor, our fabulous Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll. I won't read the whole thing, but you could see it's a real thing. It's like the real. It's a real thing, and I'd like Kendall. Why don't you come up and Ken maybe, and.
I might say Brian, too.
And Brian, of course. Brian's also a point guard. He gets it. He still plays basketball. I really don't. I play against elementary school kids. That's it. But he still plays. Okay, great. So here we go. In honor of Life Sciences Week, the proclamation reads, I won't read all of it, but a couple lines. Whereas more than 1,500 biotech and medical device technology companies employ over 130,000 people across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And whereas the Commonwealth is a national leader in attracting national institutes of health and venture capital funding to support the development of new treatments, and whereas Massachusetts boasts several of the nation's leading academic and clinical institutions, providing access to a built-in workforce and cutting-edge research and development, and whereas the Commonwealth is committed to continuing its promotion as a global hub for life sciences. Now, therefore, I, Maura Healey, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim April 24th to 28th, 2023, to be Life Sciences Week. Yay! It's great. It's a real proclamation, see?
It's real.
You can take that home and frame it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Well done. Governor, do you have time for a few questions?
I do.
Okay.
Right. We'll go over here?
Yes.
Okay, great.
After you.
Do you care what side?
No, do you?
No.
I'll make it easy for you, Governor. So,
What's the name of the band? I missed it. What's your name?
The Silver Arrow Band.
The Silver Arrow?
Right.
Nice. Where are you out of?
Boston.
Boston. All right.
Woo!
Great. Thank you.
well, Governor, thank you again so much for joining us. And we've been so thrilled with your enthusiasm and excitement about our industry. Your team has shown up time and time again. It's what you're 115 days in, and we've had so much fantastic interaction with you. So in my remarks and in Pam's remarks, we talked about a few very scary days for our industry during the Silicon Valley Bank crisis. And you talked a lot about Team Massachusetts, and I personally saw Team Massachusetts showing up in a big way in those very scary days. But I'd love to hear a little bit more from your perspective of how we were able to collaboratively work together in a short period of time and address that situation with some real urgency.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Kendall. As we know, Massachusetts was disproportionately affected by SVB and what was going down there. Massachusetts, California, I was on the phone a lot with Governor Newsom, both of us really concerned about what was happening. Probably Wednesday, Thursday of that week, we started to get word and rumblings that this was coming down and highly problematic. And Secretary Howe worked tirelessly over about a 72-hour period, convening over the course Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday into Sunday, meetings with a number of stakeholders. Through Kendall, we talked to a lot of the life sciences folks, heard what was going on, understanding people's positions, convening also all of our banks. I mean, I think what this showed is the important strength of our regional and community banks. And I think as a state, one of the takeaways from this is how do we make sure we as a state are supporting them and supporting access to capital and financing so that we avoid situations like this down the line. We also learned, though, it wasn't just about those who had deposits related to, say, life sciences or other venture opportunities, but we had, because SVB had acquired a Boston institution, there were a lot of housing developers, there were a lot of nonprofits, a lot of folks affected by this. Mass Bio, we did hear about that early. So I think, all these moments of crisis, right? I mean, they do provide an opportunity. They're very catalytic. They provided an opportunity for early convenings under the leadership of Secretary Howe and the administration to talk to folks, to talk to stakeholders, and try to game plan some of this. I was able to get real-time information about what was happening so that then I could make phone calls to the White House and others in the administration to advocate for steps, work closely with our congressional delegation. So it was a test, and it was scary, but I think we definitely have some takeaways coming from it. And one of the takeaways I know that our team has is we've got to think about how we can better position support for access to the kind of capital and financing that you all need.
Well, Governor, on behalf of our members, I want to thank you and the team for your incredible response, the urgency, the jumping right in with us as a team. It was truly Team Massachusetts in practice. So I know a motto of the administration is, we don't want to just maintain our leadership position in the life sciences. We want to extend our lead. I've heard you say it, I've heard the LG say it, Secretary Howe and others. And I'm not going to lie, I use it now sometimes in my speeches because it's really good. But I'd love to hear a little bit more from your perspective. What does extending that lead look like during your administration?
I just want to make sure I don't miss anything as I look at this. I think I'm driving over here today from where I live in Porter Square, and I mean, you go right through this district, this area, and you see, I mean, it's just amazing all that has happened in the last 15, 20 years, all that continues to happen, so many cranes and construction. I was on MIT's campus yesterday. I mean, the synergies and the partnerships and what's developing here and across the river is really, really amazing. I tout us as the global epicenter for life sciences, but we are not going to remain that unless we are very intentional about working together. I think that includes working together to compete for things like ARPA-H. This is a good test run for us as a team. How are all of us from our various positions working together in common purpose to go after something like ARPA-H, to go after CHIPS and Science Act funding, right? So, we have to do that. In order for us to lengthen our lead, maintain our lead, we need to be very intentional about that kind of work and coordination. We need to be very coordinated when it comes to workforce. We are not going to get there acting by ourselves. You need our help in incenting and putting forward the programming and the schools, right, to deliver up and help you all train the workforce that you need. We need to be really intentional about workforce. We need to create a climate that is good for your businesses, which gets to some of the things that we do want to hear about. What are the barriers? What are the friction points? Maybe some of that is something that can be addressed at the state level. Maybe some of it is something that we, and I as advocate, our team as advocate, can deal with through the federal administration or working with a delegation even. So, that's something. And then I think that the other thing is that we need to, in terms of conditions, one of the reasons that we are so focused on housing is because we're not looking for excuses for people to leave. I don't want people, you don't want people not coming here. Again, there's so much to commend Massachusetts, but if you can't afford it, people aren't going to, the calculus just doesn't work. So we've got to also really drive up housing production and make things like housing more affordable, childcare more affordable. That's what I mean, when we talk about lengthening our lead, is the conditions, right? And the partnership we got to do together. I think it's also, though, about appreciating, that this is something that is can be statewide. I mentioned Worcester, 15 in the country. Lowell, stuff's happening in gateway cities. And part of our job is to make sure we are working with you, whether it's on opening up and supporting training facilities or R&D or manufacturing. Let's seize that opportunity across this state. Again, we have a lot of proximity. You know, it's a state where people can get around and get to places pretty easily. But you know, how do we make sure this is a statewide endeavor? And that, I think, will really help cement us in terms of our global leadership.
Yeah, Governor, I think you're right. It's so exciting to see how much this cluster has grown outside of Boston and Cambridge, particularly into our gateway cities. And we look forward to being your partner in helping to extend our lead. So I think we've got time for one more question. And in my remarks, I talked a lot about health equity, and we'll have a panel today focused on health equity. Tamar Thompson from our board, and someone very familiar to you, Michael Curry, who participated on your transition team, will talk about it. You know, we here in Massachusetts have always been a leader. And so how do you think Massachusetts is a leader around health equity, and what can we do better?
It's interesting, and it relates to also the last question a little bit. Last week, we were on the campus of Takeda, just down the way, and we were celebrating our Mass Gen program. It's Mass Next Gen, right? Next Gen. See, I'm still learning. This is a great program. $100,000 to potential new founders, entrepreneurs, targeting women, people of color, veterans, LGBTQ. We know, as with life and law and policy, we will have better results, outcomes, when more people are at the table and represented. And when it comes to the issues of health equity, the same is true. And so, you know, it was super exciting to be at Takeda, who, by the way, has a facility in Lexington. I'm thinking about when I talk about statewide, we just saw the announcement of Moderna opening up the Norwood manufacturing site. Well, in addition to the Norwood manufacturing site, Ultragenics at their Bedford plant. This is to my comment about growth outside of Greater Boston. But health equity, look, I'm a former civil rights lawyer, and health equity remains at my core. And I know it does when it comes to Secretary Walsh and what the team is looking to do at HHS. I think part of it is about training. Who do we bring into the field? Because cultural competency is so key to better health outcomes. I know we're focused on what kinds of studies are being done, clinical trials, who's in those clinical trials and studies, who's not, right? What's the software? What maybe unconscious or implicit bias is reflected in some of that? And how can we work together to head that off? And so I think it's an incredibly important discussion. We're also very focused on social determinants, because so much of what you see and treat, I'm sure, relates to and has a direct correlation with some of the social determinants that we care about when it comes to housing and food and trauma and the like. And so I think having that holistic approach, at least we as an administration, you know, will help us be a better partner and driver in this space. We should be, you know, we should be. We're Massachusetts. We're home to the first public school, the first public library. You know, we have the most renowned universities and research institutions and hospitals in this ecosystem, right, in the entire country. And, you know, in my view, we should not have healthcare disparities at all, but we do. And so I think we get there by working together to just address them head on.
Well, Governor, on behalf of the board and our community, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for your leadership and helping to continue to keep Massachusetts the state of possible.
I appreciate that. And just in closing, I would say thank you to all of you who are here. Thank you for basing operations here, facilities, plants here, research here. We are truly grateful as an administration, as a Commonwealth, that you are here. Know that we want to find ways to nurture and support your endeavors for the betterment not only of residents in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, but I mean it when I say this country and this world. So best wishes, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.